Heyo, I wasn't having technical difficulties. I had to pick stuff up from not the mail office, because we don't have mail offices anymore, but from a Shoppers Drug Mart, which kind of functions as a mail office. And I got a new friend named Lila, which you'll see afterwards. And then I was in the bathroom. That's it. We got back home at 7:27, so I was doing stuff. Don't worry about it. So yeah, it was fine. That's such a weird way to ask that question. Okay, today, as you are well aware, we are reading Kai's wonderful crack fanfiction, which is preface this by saying I'm so sorry. No, you're not. I am mildly afraid. I'm mildly afraid. Okay, let's get this up. God, this is terrifying. Mildly terrifying, but terrifying nonetheless. Okay. Let's see if this works. Screens. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Cool. We're gonna move. Because I realized I could move the chat actually up. And then that'd actually be easier. So we're gonna put the chat here. And yeah, okay. Some Reddit using community technical never read Hamilton tag fix again! Oh, let's go through the we have 3 comments, we're also gonna go through the comments, okay. You got an ad? Nice. Yeah. Also, how's sound quality? I had lost my, my original proper pop filter kind of thingy, a while ago, so I hadn't been using it. So now there's a sock in front of, there's a sock in front of, on top of my microphone. And I also changed a few of my mic settings because it was messing around with something. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna try not to hit the microphone. I always try not to hit the microphone, but it's okay, it's fine. I don't have too much water today because I did rush to get here. Anyway, this is Heat Waves, the better version by Kaikaz999. It is rated teen and up. It has no archive warnings. Category is multi for like relationships. Fandoms are Council Room video blogging, Hamilton, Miranda, and Shrek movies. Relationships are George Washington, Deborah, and Lord Farquaad. Okay. Characters are Bridge, me, Polly, Kaha, the Cream, Kai, Deborah. I hate that this is now your canon tag on AO3. That makes me kind of angry, but okay. Celery, Lord Farquaad, George Washington, Mark from The Room. You didn't even tag The Room. Damn. Kool-Aid Man from the Kool-Aid commercials. Get more water? No. Sound is fine. Nice. Okay. It's who you are? Sure. Deborah, it's so funny because Deborah is like a not mistranslation, but like a like, you know how usually shorter names are nicknames of longer names? It's like a it's a reverse nickname of something that was a accidental name for you because of the account you anyway. Additional tags: crack treated seriously, I'm so sorry. Weddings, romance, gay pride, internalized homophobia, gay and homophobic, Bridges canonically gay and homophobic. Alright. Deborah uses Lorax and once-onceler pronouns, adoptive parents, freeform, improper— I feel like adoptive parents has to be its own tag. I know that whenever it's freeform, it's because it's not it's not like its own tag, but whatever. Improper use of brain cells, totally religious, Hamilton pickup lines, blatant lying, Ed Sheeran references, emo, references to songs, sheep, green sheep, gay sheep, terrible pickup lines, Fortnite dances, dabbing. Part one of the council's on crack. You're planning to do more. There's someone on Tumblr named Deborah. Their name. I like your stuff, so you have to do a double take. Nice. God, this is horrifying. Heatwave's the better version. The council room's thrown in for a ride when Kai's Pride Month celebration is turned into an impromptu wedding ceremony for their canonical father. Who? Kai? You have a canonical father? Is this lore? Is this lore? Jesus Christ. This is lore, damn it. This is lore. This is Lorax. In tradition, no editing. Oh, sorry. No, I was so confused. Ah, I didn't think. Oh, right. Yeah, no, that's the, no, I know that Deborah's your, I don't know why I wasn't thinking of, you got me to say Deborah. I wasn't thinking of Debbie. I was thinking of George Washington. I was like, did you George Washington yourself? Anyway, I'm gonna cry. There's one chapter and it's chapter 1. I was so confused. Anyway, an uncomfortable silence always filled the halls of the council room. It was a constant. The walls are rough concrete and the floors a smoother concrete. Sorry, that got me. With the industrial lighting. No, the place almost looked like a morgue. It looked like the kind of place to be infected with black mold and have suspicious stains on the floors. George Washington's Kai's mother? Yes, okay. The entire place was like a murder scene, waiting to happen. It was only a matter of time until Christmas break? Sorry, I've been rewatching, Black Friday, like the Star Kid. I'm moving the chat over again. So glad you're laughing. Who's the Lorkson? I'm one paragraph in. I'm terrified. Watch out! A childish yell followed by a poor Kaha getting hit in the face by a rainbow flag. Oh yeah, did I forget? Ooh, we're doing a narrator. Hello? Who is this first person? Woo! Who is this first person? Who are we in? Who are we in? Yeah, whose head are we in here? Oh yeah, did I forget to mention it was Pride Month in the council? Ka ripped the pride flag off their face angrily. You couldn't just bring them down in a minute? You hate me. Ka almost finished their signature phrase. That's fair enough. Almost finished their signature phrase before they got hit in the face with yet another flag. Where are they coming from? 1 second. That was not supposed to happen. 1 second. It was too powerful for my computer. It just killed itself. 1 second. Narrator from the character. You do not have rights over the character of narrator. Excuse you. Do not presume to know, though. You killed PC. It killed Chrome is what it did. Not Chrome, I don't use Chrome. I'm not a loser. I use Firefox. No, give me... What? What in the hell? What? I'm so confused. Jesus Christ. What's happening? Your fic is causing all sorts of problems, damn it. Alright. Also, narrator would never use I intentionally. Firefox, what the hell happened? I don't know, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't have rights to narrator as a character, I forbid it. Faced with yet another flag, the culprit in green glasses fell into the room at full speed. Sorry, Ka, but we gotta get the council ready for Pride Month. I got flags and scarves and glitter bombs! Kai chucked a bomb towards the doorway, hitting Bridge straight in the face. I'd kill you for that. I'm not touching my computer or my mouse. Help? I didn't do that. Kai, your fic is haunted. Oh god. Jesus Christ. Ew, you're gazing to keep your rainbow stuff in check. Bridge spoke, covered in glitter and in a giant rainbow scarf. I can't read. Classic homophobia, Brian? Deborah said smugly, twirling Lorax's cane. Lures? Wouldn't it be lures? Would this be lures? We have audio file Bridge saying that now? Yeah, okay. God. If I actually ever do become a more popular content creator and people on the internet think that I'm homophobic because of this and all the rest of the things y'all make me do, I'm gonna have a fit. I'm straight up gonna have a fit. Anyway. Oh god, once was always asking like acting like this. I forgot. I forgot. I'll protect you from the haters. It's okay. Jesus. Jesus save me. Catch a Deborah Kai yeeted a giant stack of pride banners in Lorax's direction. You get a gay, and you get a gay, and you get a free— I can't say this word! Freaking gay. Kai screeched, eating pride sheep in every direction? Even you get a gay, Mr. Onceler. How— When do you need haters when you have us? True. We'd 100% get you cancelled for the bit. How bad can I be? The Onceler spoke, holding Lorax's— Is the Onceler not Debbie? Is Debbie not the Onceler? It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Holding Lorax's tiny green sheep, dancing in a gayish manner. This— Yeah, okay, just checking. I woke up in a new Bugatti. Polly slides in on Heelys with the rainbow lights, grabbing a pride flag and performed. Sure, and Fortnite dance upon their exit. George Washington breakdanced into the council room, head to toe in a Lorax costume, bringing a bouquet of tiny fuzzy trees to their true love, Deborah. He proceeded to perform an intricate dance to the song, All the Single Ladies, and give Deborah a ring pop, causing a round of disembodied applause. You case! Bridget began to hit the two with a broom. Brigged, why can't you be supportive of me and Georgie Boo? I'd marry him with paper rings. Onceler said, dabbing him between each word. All of a sudden, the Kool-Aid man broke through the wall, speaking words of wisdom. Oh yeah. So true, Kool-Aid man, so true, Kai said. I'm having a breakdown, this is wonderful. Kai said, swinging upon a potato on a ceiling fan. Kaha was snorting crushed up candy hearts. Then they then proceeded to sneeze an atomic sneeze so powerful that they teleported everyone into a wedding venue. Deborah tied Lorax's hair up. Onceler was not like any of the other girls. Lorax wasn't going to wear a white wedding gown, instead a sparkly green one with sequins and a pair of Converse. Yeah, I was wondering if it'd be Converse. Who says I cannot wear my Converse with my dress? Deborah hit the gritty over to the front of the venue. Bridge was supporting their trademarked homophobic but gay look. What do I look like? Kai, Onceler's child, was in full Lafayette cosplay, harassing everyone from Hamilton. Kai, dressed in what looked like someone had sneezed a rainbow onto them. Oh wait, that's what happened. Polly didn't bother to show up. Cream was curled up in a corner crying. It's accurate. Cellier was the stunning flower person, but instead of flowers, it was taxes for the poor to pay, and coincidentally, Cellier was also the priest. Someone very important was missing. And Mark from the room was also in the crowd, holding hands with the Kool-Aid man? An instrumental version of Heat Waves began to play as George Washington strolled down the aisle in a beautiful white dress. Over the music, every few beats, there would be a yell of, "Here comes the general, rise up!" Tears filled the crowd as George Washington made it to the front of the venue. You may begin with the vows. Hold on, I need to go to the restroom, the Onceler said, making Lorax's way off to the side. The sound of whatever horrifying combination of dairy Deborah had consumed was heard through the entire venue. Then silence. All of a sudden, Kai's phone read out a notification. Poop map notification. Deborah released the Kraken. 2 out of 5 stars. It was extremely hard to release the unholy bowel movements in this green dress. Here's a photo. No words could describe the look of horror on Kai's face. This moment would be forever scarred in their memory. Great, Debbie, you're now a parent who horribly traumatizes their child. It's your favorite part? Great. Deborah returned to the front of the venue and began their vows. Georgie Wargie Schmorgy Poo, I want your smogless smoke schloppity schlop. You make me question how truly bad can I be. This relationship has been also gratifying. You make my ever-loving world go round. And you know what? Everyone you take care of yours and I'll take care of mine. Deborah spoke full of sincerity. Like a true dad? Okay. Deborah Werbera, shababy poop high. I'm in love with the shape of you, so darling, kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own. You're my bad habits and my late nights lead to you. All men may have been created equal, yet you are above them all. You are my life, my liberty, and my pursuit of happiness. I would lead an entire nation to revolution for you. You make me helpless. History isn't the only one with eyes on you. Ew. When your mouth is on mine, I do not say no. Remember that night when I asked you to take a break and run away with me for the night? Asked you on a date. You outshine the morning sun, Deborah. Weird thing to say considering those about their kids, but okay. Deborah, hey, best of wives and best of once-lers. Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm being poisoned. All the wedding guests had teared up at their words. Does anyone object to this marriage? Speak now or forever hold your sheep, Celerine declared. You may now kiss the onceler. I object! Lord Farquaad bawed from the crowd. Georgie Wargie, Deborah Werba, I want to be your right-hand man. Love doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints, and you both make me so helpless. Lord Farquaad made his way up to the stage, holding the right hands of George Washington and Deborah. So, like, across, like, they create a diagonal, or they, like, in a... No, wait. No, I'm right. I'm right. That would be, like, if you're standing across from each other, you would be in the middle diagonally. Okay, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, you may now kiss the onceler. You both may now kiss the onceler. I'll save you the details of that most likely horrifying imagery, because I don't want to think of a logical way tiny Lord Farquaad could kiss tall George Washington. Cheers erupted from the gay old crowd as Kai rushed up to hug their new co-parents. Happily ever heat waves. I'm so sorry. One person is standing back to the priest. Okay. I said I was gonna be like, I was gonna do like editing notes on this. I don't think I physically can. I think I physically am unable. I don't think I can do anything about this. I think it just has to exist as it is. Comments from Debbie. Deborah's living the life, not gonna lie, I wish it was Lorax. Kai says, how dare you? And then this random person with a green and Mumbo Jumbo, is that his name? I don't remember. I'm never going through the Hamilton tag again. Who is this? Who are you? Do you need help? How did you get here? They left a kudo though? Yeah, I saw. Guys, what is this? Where am I? I was writing actual. I have to kudos this. This is amazing. I've never felt so much. I've never felt so much. Is the internalized homophobia just me? I'm truly at a loss for words. Hi, Mint. You missed the most. You missed so much. I was writing like my own actual like original works earlier today, and I was having a lot of fun with it, and it was coming out really well. And then I decided, oh, I want to add a horror element to this, and then I was like, no, my head hurts too much, so I had to lie down. I will be working on that and adding horror elements to it because it's fun. Christ almighty. What do I do? What do I do here? What is this? What is this? What am I? How am I? I can't. I have no notes. It's perfect. It's truly perfect. Do you guys want? Hi, Polly. Hi, Polly. Internalized homophobia. Apparently, it's me. I don't. Do you guys want like writing notes with my own writing as an example? Like, where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? Read the line with Polly in it? I don't know what it is. I start crying. I woke up in a new Bugatti. Polly slides in on Heelys with the rainbow lights, grabbing a pride flag and performed a Fortnite dance upon their exit. And that's it. That's it. That's all that's happening. Oh wait, no. Polly didn't bother showing up. That's the only time. Do y'all want me to go over writing? Y'all will go. You're gonna write so much crack fic? I don't know how to help you. I can't. There's nothing I can do. I had plans. I had plans. I was gonna teach Debbie to or I was gonna go through the way that I manage multiple characters in a conversation, because it's difficult. My brain hurts. Okay, let me give me a second. I ever asked about it, that is pure friction. I know. I don't know what to do with myself. I'll never write something as good as that. You've ruined me. You've simply ruined me. I feel like I need to lie down. True. Hi, Polly. I feel like I need to lie down. I need to lie down. What do I do with myself? I'm gonna start crying. Use you as a bed? Nah. I want the new longer fic? Jesus Christ. Oh god. I have to yeah, what's up? I'm gonna take this time to scroll through some of my, cause I don't know what I've written, and a lot of stuff is like one-on-one stuff, but we're gonna look through my OC-tober, and if there's nothing OC-tober, we're going to the Forbidden Land. What's up? What do you want? I'm so tired. I'm already so tired. No, I'm not a cult leader. What do you... Jesus Christ. Had-written council fanfic? Absolutely not. You can't do this to me now. I'm not doing it. Screw you. Go to hell. Woo. Go to hell. Get out of here. No, go away. I'm not doing it. You can't ask me. You can't ask. This is me. I'm not doing it. Yeah, yeah. Yep. I don't have to do what you asked me to do. I'm doing my own. Shut up. Yeah, I'm scamming you. I'm not giving you your points back. That's what you get. I don't care. I'll give you your points back, but I'm absolutely not. I don't feel like it. I don't want to do it. You're killing me here. Also, yes, I was doing a lesson. Give me a second. Also, hands up if you read the thing I posted with my kids, with my idiot loser kids. I'll give you your points back after. I can't do it now. Which of you read? Okay, fine, you're gonna yell at me. I'll go on Twitch and give you your points back. I'm gonna cry. Do you understand? Do you understand? You're gonna make me cry. But yeah, which of you read, I want to know for my own personal vanity, Which of you read about the kids, the dumb little my kids, my kids? They're the loser kids. I love them so much. I truly love them so much. They're wonderful. Who's writing? I can't read. Reject. There, get your stuff. You're not having siblings? You don't. What? Oh, make it emperor? No, God. You like the way I write? Thank you. Yeah, Goggles Kid and Newbie, they're my darling dearest. They started out as just being friends. Now they're being weird. They're being weird to each other, and I don't know. I don't control it. They're I have them written in my. Actually, you guys can see this. This is fine. As we search in my OC-tober. Ooh, you can't see anything with that. Yay! What's that? Nope, not that. Give me image 2. Yeah, we'll leave that there. Yeah, I do have a thing. I have a few things here where they're actually written in a different thing, but it's fine. We're trying to see if I have a thing in here where it's like actual multiple people talking, but I don't think there is. Actually, my main. You guys are having conversations. I did refund your points, by the way. My main tip for writing conversations with multiple characters is make it so they speak to each other the least amount possible. Like, do the least of it. Do as minimally as possible as you can. Most of these are just one character talking to another character. Damn, I really didn't have much variance. Darkness was sticky. Woo! You're also finishing. Okay. If I don't have it here, we're opening up zombie fic because I actually do have a few examples of multiple people talking to each other, and I think they're actually pretty good examples because I like them in zombie fic. Calls them fangs. Damn. I forgot about that. I have not read these in so long. Damn. Okay. Another ad. What do you want from me? Kai, what do you want from me? Okay, we're opening up zombie fic. None of you are allowed to judge me. Especially after that. None of you are allowed to judge me. Zombie fic is good, though. Zombie fic is good, and this is not really spoilers. Y'all should read zombie fic if you guys care. Where's O3? Zombie fic is fun. The George Washington Lord are canonically Kai's co-parents now? No. 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 You've labeled it as fanfiction? I can't. They're all so long. No, the ones I like are long. I've actually read one of my fanfictions to you. I've read, although I don't think you were there. I read one of my Voltron fanfictions because I'm like that. It'd probably take like 10 minutes actually for me to do one of these. To read, like, to actually properly read one of these out at the very least, because I was doing a thing and it took about 10 minutes for me to read 1,000 words, but that's beside the point. I'm doing examples because I have actual. I have too much. I truly have too much. Where's my. Wait. Damn it. 1 second. I am dumb. I forgot. I put under a different tag. There it is. You. Kai-Dad difficulties. Zombie fic reading? Zombie fic is 20,000 words! Zombie fic is very good, but it is 20,000 words. I'm not... I can't write the entire thing. Or I can't read the entire thing out loud during one stream. Yeah, no, I do. I have your comments. It's also, lots of blood, body horror, injuries, death, violence of many kinds, gross imagery, and bad people being terrible. So it's not 20K is not that much. It is for my voice, okay? I don't do audiobooks. Let's find the example of. So first of all, this first scene kind of sucks. I knew what was gonna happen, and I knew that I had to get them there. I hate this scene. It's really bad. It's the first example of multiple people talking to each other. It's 4 people here. I don't like it. It's not great. I don't want to look at it. We might look at it later, but there's another example that's better. And it's when they're all talking about they for context, they're oh, it is after the gross scene. Right, that one. Should I read that scene? I don't want to read it out. I kind of don't want to read it out loud because it's actually really gross. Well, it's not super gross. It's kind of gross though. It's gross and sad is what it is. Region of. That's what it is. Okay, here it is. Yeah. They all gathered at the large main table in the living room of the community house. The Badlanders had gone home, probably to make sure everything was still going okay at their camp, blah, blah, blah. That's the setup. They're having a conversation. Essentially, their camp, quote-unquote camp, it's a settlement, got raided, and, like, a bunch of stuff got destroyed. A bunch of, like, zombie medicine, essentially, was stolen. It's called antizin. And they don't have enough to make it through the next week, and so they're trying to figure out what to do. XDAM, because we love Latin here, has made an announcement over the internet, I guess. This is DNF's like DNF, DNF. It's mostly just Dream getting messed up. It's my favorite part. XD, the corporation, made an announcement that they're going to be dropping more antizin into the valley for people to pick up, and they're discussing how to pick it up, how to get it. Yeah, Dream having a bad time. That's straight up, that's the vibes. That's straight up the vibes. It's really fun. It was so fun. I loved writing this. But yeah, started the conversation here. You should have woken me up sooner, Dream said. He pulled out his map. God, I swear, I put a lot of swears in this, I forgot! Damn. I guess we'll just substitute them? It's gonna sound stupid. Oh well. Frick, that's so far away. I don't know if we can get a group down there in time. You needed the rest. Plus, it's not like the crates are gonna disappear overnight, Quackly said. He leaned over Dream's unfolded map and tapped one of the buildings highlighted blue near the edge of the map. I doubled using map here. Sounds stupid. It's fine. Whatever. This is a year old. Almost, actually. We get here, wait the night, and collect them as soon as possible in the morning. Simple. That's not gonna work, Dream replied. The edges of the city are crawling with bandits. You know they've already seen this. He pointed to the computer screen. Our only chance is getting there before them. If we dropped everything and ran basically the whole way through, do you think we could make it? Sapnap asked. George shook his head. We'd attract too much attention like that, both from flesh eaters and those rogues. Also, we were just sacked yesterday. I'm just saying I don't think it'd be good for a lot of us to leave, Carl said. Dream let the others talk over him as he stared at the map. None of the ideas they were coming up with were gonna work. He'd made the run before, or at least a similar one, and even while alone and going as fast as he could, it still took him a good couple of hours. I do not know why I'm rushing through this. I do not have to. I'm going to calm down, or try to. There was only one choice. I'll go. Everyone else stopped. They stared at him as he started to fold his map up, surprise evident in their features. What? George said. We've just said how a group wouldn't be fast or quiet enough. Dream stood up from his seat. I know. I'm going alone. Objections erupted around the table, but he spoke over all of them. It makes the most sense. I was a runner. I know the path better than anyone else. I'm the fastest traveling through the city, and one person would be way quieter than an entire group. It's the best choice. Yeah, Sapnap said sarcastically. Except for the part where you die, Dream. Don't be stupid. Why aren't you making British accent? Because I'm trying to get through this. It was never meant to be. It was never meant to be. I'm not stupid. I'm being practical. I'm the fastest and the quietest option. I have the most experience being outside at night, and I've never been bit, so I won't need to worry about any problems with the infection. I'm the best chance we have. And we're not saying you're not all those things. Carl held his hands out in a placating manner. But come on, dude. I think we'd all prefer you alive and well, right, guys? He looked to the others for support. George and Sapnap looked to agree with Carl, but Q was a different story. I think you should do it. Quackly, George yelled. He's right, guys. He's our best chance of actually getting to that before this skull mask. Damn it! Forgot. A lot of swear words. Get their hands on it. He put his hands up in surrender. It's a risk, but it's a calculated one. I'm just trying to save as many people as possible. And if he gets ripped apart, dream level George with a look. Then everyone's already dead anyway. I'm going and that's final. Bridge to action. It's content. Make it a YouTube video? No. But yeah, that's the example. I think it's a pretty good example of multiple people speaking. We have 5 characters here: Dream, George, Sapnap, Quackity, and Carl. One of my favorite things to do is this here. Let the others talk over him, or yeah, talk over him as he stares at the map. Just don't write the things that they're saying. Just don't do it. Just have it not be important. That's generally what you want to do with a lot of writing, but especially with dialogue. Everything that is said by the characters kind of needs to add something to the story, especially if you have a lot of people speaking at once. Everything has to kind of go into each other and like matter for the conversation, I guess you'd say, either for furthering the conversation, furthering the plot, or to establish where each character sits during this conversation. Speaking of which, you want to have the conversation itself matter. Like, I had an earlier point, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, kill all your darlings. Your children don't need to live. All your darlings should be dead. Yeah, here's another area where they're all kind of speaking together. In this point, they have like a few exchanges. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They say 7 things during this entire thing, but they, at this point, sit around and chat for a couple of hours, possibly? No, I don't know. I actually don't know. I think it's like 30 minutes. Yeah, it's 30 minutes. They chatted. So the rest of the things that they're saying, they're just having idle chatter. Nothing else that they're saying at this point kind of matters to the conversation. But here, what I have here, reporting to Dream the essentially direness of the situation. They can't get anything from anyone else. They did have, like, this is just some fluff here. Like, they have outside contact, are also establishing the story that they do have outside contacts. They have a lot of allies, but no one else can help. Like, Ben X here is on the other side of the country. He can't do anything because they're on a time limit. Sapnap here is establishing his stance on someone else in there, in the alliance. That's the word I'm looking for, not allyship. And also, what he's saying is to establish to the audience, as well as this paragraph here, why they're not in this fanfiction, why they're not important, because they don't help. And then also Carl's response to this is, so I don't have to be like, so I don't make it sound like they're being super evil. It's not that. They're just they don't really have anything. But then, yeah, after they have all this out of their system, they should have they continue to talk, but we don't say anything, or we don't really hear exactly what they're saying, because it's not important. Back to that other example. I could have said that one, but or read that one, but that's a super short example of a conversation. I think this is much more interesting. And also, for essentially every line, I do have character tags, or dialogue tags, so replied, asked, or I have action tags, as we've established. That is what I call them. So George shook his head, and then, of course, we imply, or infer that the line directly after it, and in the same, essentially, quote-unquote paragraph, is from him. And then, as we have the POV, yeah, you can put it anywhere you want. You can put it in the middle. Like, this isn't an action tag, but you can do something like this. Like, you can have a full sentence in front, and then have who it's from in the center, and then have the continuation of what they're saying afterwards. There's a lot that goes into writing. And also, we know it's from Dream's point of view, so I have Dream let the others talk over him as he stared at the map, blah blah blah, none more ideas were gonna work. He'd made the run before, even alone, it would take a few hours. There was only one choice, I'll go. It's pretty easy to infer that it is Dream talking in this one, because he wasn't listening before, and so the first thing that we quote-unquote hear would be from his perspective. There's also no there's no like other tags around it, so it's pretty obvious. And then after this, just kind of reinforcing that idea, everyone else stopped, which is why like word choice is important. The difference between everyone else stopped and everyone stopped is that when you put else there, it implies, or it means that he didn't, like everyone aside from him. Ender in the middle, nah, you can put it anywhere you want. Just in the same paragraph kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, and then also you don't need to put the tags anywhere, like this one. I think you should do it. We get confirmation before and afterwards that it's Quackity who's speaking, and you can just kind of do that. Also, what I told you in the messages where it's like, if you establish two characters talking and then you have nothing there, people will just assume it's those two characters talking unless you add in a different kind of tag to it. So that's what's happening here. So we established it's going to be Quackity talking, and then Quackity talks, and then George talks, further establishing this is Quackity. But we have this tag here, and then we don't have any names here. We do have pronoun, but they all use he, him pronouns in this, so it's kind of a moot point. But we have this here. It follows the same logic as this line here, so it's also easy based on the based on the content of the words and the context of the conversation. It's easy to infer that the person who's saying this is also saying this. But because I'd established it was Quackity and George speaking, this next line also doesn't need a dialogue tag or an action tag or anything like that, because if they're having if Quackity's replying to George, who's yelling at him, then George would be the one replying to Quackity. And then here, Dream talks and also further reinforces that it's George he's talking to with this, because he's leveling George with a look, and then he's saying his final thing. Yeah! So dialogue's easy, but you'll also note I have to take my headphones off because my head is hurting. But you'll also see that there's actually not all that much. There's 5 characters. You make it seem so easy. I don't know. I grew like this is how my brain processes information. You'll also notice there's actually not a lot of dialogue in this scene compared to the fact that there's 5 characters. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's 17 actual voice lines where they talk, and it's one scene and there's 5 characters, right? So it's not even 4 lines a character. They've all been established. They've all said their piece. It's implied that they talk quite a bit more. It also is implied that they've had at least everyone except for Dream has had, I guess Dream and George has had more of a conversation about this already, so they're already like near the end, like near the conclusion, the climax of the conversation itself, which is also helpful because then you have to write even less dialogue. But yeah, that's kind of a thing. You don't want, no one wants an entire conversation in a story, in like an actual story. That's what fanfiction is for. I understand that this is fanfiction, but I write it from the perspective of it being a story. There's a reason that shows, or not necessarily shows, but like there's a reason a lot of media that is a lot more tightly contained. So things that are not anime, not manga, not live shows, there's a reason they don't have things like beach episodes. They don't really have shopping episodes. They don't have like a leisurely time. It's because in the course of actually writing the story, that's a lot of wasted time, and it is technically not useful to have as being part of a story, because you could add, because the only thing you can really add to a story is like character development, relation development, and world building, and you can do that with scenes that forward a story, and that's usually what people look for, because condensing things, making things not feel bloated is like the important thing. Of course, you can add those things if you need to add in a pacing element, but what if you want to write a slice of life kind of thing? Yeah, then that's like fanfiction. A lot of fanfiction will be slice of life. Slice of life media too exists, obviously, and obviously like like week by week written stories or created stories. What do you call the bee that sings? Beyonce, hi Zinc. Week by week created things like live shows, like manga, like anime, things like, well, not necessarily anime, but you know what I mean. They have more room to do that stuff. Fanfiction has room to do that. People who are a lot looser about their stories have the ability to do that. There's also, like, if you ever watch a sitcom, there's a reason something goes wrong every episode. It's because that's the only... You hate spring water? Okay. There's a reason that in sitcoms and stuff where everything is a lot more... It's a lot less world-shatteringly important. There's a reason that something goes wrong in every episode. It's for the drama. It's to add tension. Or even shows where people are doing a job, there's a reason that every episode something goes wrong, even if the people who are doing that job are like said to be great at something or like really good. You don't... It'll get boring if you show the majority of... Okay, wait, I know I'm talking about Sherlock, so we're gonna talk about Sherlock, because obviously I'm gonna talk about Sherlock. But, in Sherlock, the only cases that anyone's gonna write about, or, like, the actual cases that are written about, are the ones that are difficult for him to figure out, right? Like, that's the only case fix anyone ever cares about. Because, for fanfiction, people write ones that are, like, simple, but because they have other things going on. That's beside the point. They write the ones that are hard because that's the only time there's interest in it. If you continuously write things that would be, like, the majority of cases that Sherlock would go on, it's gonna be boring, because they can't figure it out real quickly. It's boring. It's not as fun. Maybe it's fun, like, once or twice, but the majority of them are like that. It's boring. Like, it's not the taste, I think it's how quenchy it is. What does that mean? Sherlock Holmes? Yes, I mean Sherlock Holmes. Make conflict, resolve conflict kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, you wanna get to the point, essentially, as fast as possible, because it helps keep things from being repetitive. You'll also notice that, like, this is the last point of actual group dialogue. It lends to how I also like to write. There's not much dialogue after this. There's not much dialogue in this entire thing. Which I noticed is actually very true in movies, too, where there's a very condensed time limit. Because unlike a book or a series, you do not have space to kind of waste. You have maybe 2.5 hours, maybe less. I was rewatching How to Train Your Dragon, and it has an extremely, one second, it has an extremely small cast. Train Your Dragon cast. It is a very short cast list, and it has, if you actually listen to how much dialogue is in it, it's mostly one character. Like, look at this. Because it's not important. Nope, that's not what I want. Give me back my thingy. There we go. Why have you been walking back and forth for 20 minutes? Jesus. Don't mind me reading my books for school just now. I've been walking around for like explaining. lore of the council to myself like a ninja patient. Damn, you're going fully insane. Nice. I'm still waiting on that that council lore essay. But yeah, if you see, this is the entire cast, and these characters, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these last 5 people say maybe one line, right? And then the people from here to here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, these 4 people maybe say 3 lines each. Most of the dialogue goes to Mr. Hiccuprandus Haddock the Third himself, Jay Baruchel, because Mans talks a lot. It's a story about him. The only reason he's even saying these things is because it is a movie. The narrative, exactly. But yeah, no, that's the point. The only reason he's actually saying things out loud is 1, he's talking to Toothless because he's a loser, and 2, it's a movie, so you can't just read it as being in his head. A lot of the things he says would probably just be thoughts, honestly, or like narration, but they keep narration to only the beginning and the end of the movie, which is, I'm 100% sure, a reference to the fact that in the books he has like a prologue and epilogue where it's like, this is me now, and I'm going to tell you the story, but right now, let me check in with you, and it's great, and I love it. I love the books. Yes, anyway, think of dialogue kind of like that in movie. You can have as much dialogue as you want, but it does have to go somewhere if you want to prevent it from feeling really bogged down. In the rest of my story, let's go over here. The rest of my story, I can't show you, but like the rest of my story, I think, yeah, there's this conversation here where George gives the flashlight. Again, pretty short. Their voice lines are also quite short. And then there are check-ins as most of the other dialogue. Yeah, there's this where he's updating them about what's going on at the boxes. I think it's like he's updating them what's happening with the Antizin. He tells them about the fact that the tunnel that he was originally going through is blocked off. He has run-in with some other bandits where he kills a bunch of people. Full spoilers for, not full spoilers, but mostly spoilers for this fic. Had a show don't tell come into writing? Sorry, random thoughts. No, it's fine. Show don't tell really does kind of, I do have examples for it. Favorite scene, favorite gross scene. Let's go to the show don't tell. Where is it? That dream sequence is wild, dude. That dream sequence I wrote, wild. Show don't tell here, I was forced to work with show don't tell a lot, but it's for animation, so it's different. It is different. It does have a very similar vibe. It is, you're still doing the storytelling, but you can do it differently with writing than you can do with animation. A lot of the idea is going to be the same, so anything you would draw and not have characters say would be something you write about. So like establishing the scene, what's happening, what it looks like. With writing, there's a little bit of fun trickery you can do because you're able to withhold a lot of information, and also it's not necessarily about exactly what you're telling, but also how you're telling it, right? How bad can you be, Debbie? I hate that. Oh, bad. Ugh. So, like this. He thinks, oh god, no, this wasn't happening. And then I have this. We already have established that I also reestablished it here. He's good at running. He's been a runner. He is the most prolific at doing this kind of parkour stuff. And then we have him falling, dropping out of the tower, almost falling. He's vaulting over the concrete walls, and his feet are not catching him the way they usually do. He stumbles. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with his brain to body communication. But he's still going. Like, I'm not telling you. Lyrics are not allowed. Bridge is a hater, that's why I changed a little, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, like, I'm not telling you that he's in a very bad spot. I'm not telling you what he's been told, but you know immediately from not just what he says, but also the way he acts, how bad things are. We have unreliable narrator also, but so this is less important, but you can see he's not, something's going wrong. He's something's very wrong. Because this isn't a POV, there's also the fact that all of this is essentially sort of in his brain, so this is kind of what he's thinking, so you can also mess around with that. Which is why he started running, he was good at running. Him focusing very, very much. Don't worry about it. He's focusing very much on, like, what he's good at. He's tunnel visioned, he's tunnel visioned very much. He's freaking out. He had to see it for himself, he didn't want to see. I'm not sure, I'm straight up not telling you anything. I guess I'm not also showing you things, I'll show you later, it's fine. It was hard to spot being only a couple hundred feet away. With the horde of undead that was surrounding it, he couldn't miss it. The scene was almost deafening, the sounds of groaning, screeching, the horde sounds of tearing flesh and chewing. Setting a scene. Woo. Things that would be telling you what's happening in the scene is like telling you that I don't do it a lot because it's harder for me to think of an example, but if you've ever read some, like, people in fics well, fic writers will describe things as being passionate, as being scary, as, like, characters being angry, like, we'll use those words, and it feels weird. Don't need to whack me over the head, I've been whispering the lore of the council on my plans for 30 minutes, Jesus Christ. Hey, I'm talking here. Anyway, yeah, people will say, will have that, and that's their only explanation for what's happening, how a character's feeling. Mainly you do this for character feelings and, like, their reactions and stuff, because that's usually where it's important. With the setting, you have to kind of tell what's happening, because that's the only way you can tell people what's going on. Jesus Christ. Yeah, with the setting, you kind of have to tell, but that's narration, so it's a little bit different. With it's like character feelings, relationship dynamics, things like that, that's where you actually get the meat of actually showing. Also with relationships, you can tell people that two characters are in love, but if they don't act like they're in love, people are gonna go, that's not right, and then ship someone else. Like ship other two people. I think you generally write a 10k word fic of serious council room crack. If you do that, I'm turning into an audiobook. He'd feel his stomach in his throat, he wanted to throw up. The smell of fresh blood was bad, but there was so much worse. Instead of saying this, I could say that he was disgusted. He was feeling disgusted. Which one has more of a, if you're all cry, it'll be perfect, yeah. Please do not add swearing into it if you can avoid it, because I can't say those words. But yeah, instead of saying this line, I could say he felt sick. He was disgusted by what he was seeing. And then it's like, well, which of these has more impact? The fact that you know what he's feeling, or the fact that, like, I'm just saying these words? Where is it? Also, another thing with show, don't tell, and the thing you can do in writing is he straight up he doesn't remember any of this. Like, you get a very clear idea of where his headspace is, because this guy who is we established later on the fic and also early on the fic that he is always like constantly vigilant, paranoid, very aware of his surroundings. Straight up does not pay attention to the fact that something is coming towards him, possibly to kill him, over here, because he's focusing on his funny little horse. Other thing, where is it? You don't want to think about how you promised to take him out for a ride when he next got home. I don't say they were super close. They had a very good relationship. They blah 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 blah, whatever like that. Like, do not say in words, but with this backstory I'm adding, with all these like things, like, oh yeah, he'd spoken to his horse earlier that day. I guess that day, sure, we'll say that day. You can kind of see, oh yeah, even though Spirit is not as useful to him, he's obviously very close to his horse. He talks to his horse, he hangs out with his horse. Where is... Yeah, the flashback, quote-unquote flashback, to the fact that he'd spent so much time taking care of Spirit to get him to a place where he could actually move, so not being sick anymore, that he learned to use horseshoes, that Dream had accidentally hurt him by drawing blood. Never more than that, he made sure of it, because he cares. Things like that. El Diablo. I'm a nerd in front row paying attention, asking questions while everyone else doesn't. You are a nerd. To include... would you people like me to stream it? Like, not all, because I'm saying yes, I'm good. Instead of just saying is alright. Yeah. There's like little tricks you can do with writing by... One of the fun things about show don't tell that you can do as a writer is not showing and not telling. But at all angles. But yeah, is not showing and not telling. I don't have to tell you anything. Figure it out. Showing, not telling. You have to do it at specific times, though. You have to make it clear that you're kind of setting up this idea. Like, I feel like it's pretty obvious that Dream's in not a great headspace. he's a lot of mental problems in this, like emotional problems about his sense of self-worth. He does kind of, I guess he kind of says things about it, but it's more so he alludes to it, like, nah, he's like, yeah, there are more important things. I have to do this to save these people. He never says I'm worthless, or other people are more important to me. And I guess George kind of references it in the conversation where he's given the flashlight, but the fun part of it is, like, I don't have to tell you this. You get it. You understand. You don't show and don't tell what you do. You talk about other things. It's about these specific things. It's about certain ideas. There's like this great underlying source of like sense of dread, terrible fun things, and it's just like, yeah. Anyway, moving on. It's my favorite thing to do. It's one of my favorite things to do. Just straight up moving on from that. Who cares? Oh, we're counting here? Great. I don't remember. I'm just in the middle of rereading this. I feel like this is some road. Remember you're talking to an illiterate idiot and a few others. You're asking me show don't tell. That's kind of a hard thing to talk about. I don't think I ever write in this, but it's very much true that especially after he's gotten bit and if you're gonna read this, I am spoiling this. Woo! How do you manage it with third-person narrative? We'll get to it. To that. But especially near the end of this, Dream feels terrible. He feels terrible about himself, about his place. It starts in the beginning, but by the end of this, he truly does feel like he's a monster. Which is is very much, it's a part of the reason he's like, yeah, I'll go through this volatile mess and probably die. That's fine, because he feels like a monster. Because in the scene preceding that, essentially the scene preceding that, he murders 3 people in broad daylight. Blacks out during it. Oh, another thing about show don't tell. I don't tell about it. I don't talk about it. Like, you don't have to see it. You see the aftermath because it is from his perspective and he blanks out during it. Damn you. Okay. How do you give him personality? It's the personality of whoever you're following. If you're talking about third person omniscient, I can go over that when I talk about the thing I posted. Anyway, we'll be right back. I have to get water or I'm going to explode. Enjoy the dope romantic music. Come up with questions. I'll be back. Hello, we're back. What was I saying? Oh yeah, this, I straight up... Like, yeah, we established him starting to feel like he was a monster with the whole attack on the camp, and then the spirit thing, and then he gets bit and is lying to his friends who care about him very much, and he's like, I'm not gonna tell you about that. And then he comes across these people. He goes there originally for the reason of saving this guy who is being tortured, essentially. Leave him alone. And then they challenge him to a fight. They left their weapons, he left his. We don't find out what happens, or we don't see it play out, because I don't want to show or tell you. Screw you! I don't want to show or tell you. And then when we settle back in, this is also how you use formatting to, part of how you use formatting to kind of give character to your writing, make it work for your advantage. I don't want to write a fight scene. Fight scenes are hard to write, so I don't do them. Do as little of it as possible. Straight up, not doing it. It fits into the story as well because he's losing his mind. And then he's in the aftermath. He sees all the things that are very bad that happened, and he freaks out and throws up. I think he does. Yeah, he retches into the grass. Yeah, the little voice in the back of his head is calling him monster. You never see that written in words. Never says you're a monster, but he thinks he's a monster. He thinks of himself as a monster. He was saving someone this time as he was there in time to save. He was supposed to make up for how he failed before. Why did it feel worse? Why was it so much worse? Because I'm having fun with it. how do you manage the third-person narrator? How do you give them personality? For me, most of the time, if it's third-person limited, I take the personality of the character I'm writing from and I make that the personality, essentially. There's going to be a little bit of distance, and you can give it as much distance from the main, essentially the main character, as you want, but yeah, I put it into the idea of like, hey, this is the lens that we see the world through is the character we're following, so just do that. Most of the personality in writing is gonna be style, like your own personal style, so that's something you have to discover yourself, I'm sorry. But it's gonna be things like how you describe imagery, how you describe people moving, because the character of what is the narrator and the character of the people who actually talk are going to be, that's where the line is. It's like imagery, action, things like that, and then dialogue. So they're quite separate. Act like screw you. No, I don't want to. And it is a sense of, it is a lot of it giving things personality. A lot of it is style, it's learning, it's reading actively and knowing what you want the scene, the story to evoke in your readers. I'm not reading the actual chat. 1 second. Give me your points back? Yeah. Yeah, I'm answering questions. You can't redeem Stretch, I just did it. Actually, I left a granola bar in the freezer and I do want to eat that. I will be back. I'll be back again. Blame Kai for that. I want that granola bar. I returned with granola bar that's been frozen. Yeah, the bottle exists. Don't worry about it. Too bad. If you want information, hang out. Frozen yogurt granola bar. Good. What was I talking about? Narrator? Yeah, man, that's style. That's personal preference. you gotta read. You have to read and find out what you like and what you want. And then when you're planning out a scene or a story, you have to figure out what kind of what you're trying to write. You want that's stupid. You write a lot? Okay, do you figure out what you like from things and steal all those stuff? Cause that's how you're supposed to read. When you read, you find things you like, you find things you don't really care for, and then you find things you don't like, and then you steal them. You steal them. That's what you've been trying to do? Too bad. Do it. And then you do your best to make a pale imitation of it, and that's how you find your style. As you can see, I don't know if you can tell from my writing style, this is mostly because I write on my phone for the most part, but I have a lot of these like single line, you can't see my mouse, these single line sentences. That's part of my writing style, because another thing about my writing style is it's very spoken word, like read out loud style writing. There is a lot of formatting that's visual that I do, but a lot of it is also how it would sound when it's spoken out loud. There's a reason that I have paragraphs in these places. That's part of the style that's based on both actual speaking, because I'm telling you, it's not just reading. I do this for everything that I consume that I could take into writing. Y'all ever just stare at things and be like, how do I describe that? How would I describe that? What words would I use to make that sound or that motion or whatever's happening? You do it in movies, you do it in TV shows, you do it when you go outside and watch people walk around. Makes you real creepy. But yeah, that's how it works. Everything is writing fodder. Everything is writing fodder. This little thing where we do, I don't know how to describe it. Style is really hard to describe, which is how you get a lot of personality. Doing first person can get around that, but you have to have a solid idea of the personality of the character. And even then, you still have to learn, like, sort of how to style, and like descriptive writing, and that can be a little bit harder when it's first person. I don't do first person. We all know this. I don't do first person. What am I gonna say? The way that I introduce world building and lore and stuff like that is part of how I do personality, I guess. And it's to tell you as little as possible for as long as possible. That's part of the show don't tell mechanic. Yeah, I guess that's how I do a lot of my show don't tell. I try to give you as little information as possible and still have a story make sense, because that way it feels a lot more natural. And yeah, it feels a lot more natural, and if I give you as little information as possible, that means I can also have information come up more naturally. Like, I don't actually like the beginning of this story, to be honest. The beginning of the story kind of sucks. Hi! Oh, hey! I know you in real life. Please do not tell anyone I'm here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Jesus Christ. We're oh no. We're gonna go to something else more about it. I have other examples of this, don't worry about it. We're gonna ignore, It's fine. It's fine. I'm not freaking out. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Nothing is wrong. We'll talk about this. It's okay. We don't need to. Leave me alone. All of you, leave me alone. I got jump scared. Of course I'm a coward. You'll know me. You'll know me. We'll go back to it when I've calmed down and stopped caring. But I was also gonna go here. I was gonna go to this anyway because I love this and I'm very happy with how it turned out. You're fine. Eli, you're fine. You're cool. I'm calming down. I'm calming down. This is gonna be a great YouTube video. Anyway. Oh god, that means I have to... No, maybe this won't... no shame, share weird stories. I am showing my weird stories, just different ones. Shut up. Shut your face. Shh, 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 shh. Anyway, talking about style and personality and world building, because those are all kind of intrinsically linked. This one, I was doing a different thing, as we all know, with the style of this. It's still pretty obvious. I feel like it's still pretty obviously my style of writing. But I did a different point of view and I did a different tense, which were a wild thing to try. I don't think I got third person omniscient fully down correctly. I'm still tweaking it, but I think I got it down pretty effectively, at least effectively enough. And present tense is real hard. Present tense is difficult because I'm always in past tense. Present tense is weird. But yeah, this is actually probably not a great idea, a great example, because it doesn't have, because of the POV I chose for this, I can't, well, no, it kind of shows it. We just jump right into a scene. We just jump right into the scene. The one with goggles presses his back against the wall, scrunching his face as if that'd make him less easily noticeable. I give you no context. We have no setting. We have no we basically have no establishing of the characters. All we get is that, yeah, this is kind of what he looks like. Anyway, he doesn't get a name. Moving on. Which is fun. Again, another thing of show don't tell, because I don't care about you. I don't care about any of my readers. This is for me. Jeff? No. Absolutely not. He's not human. I think. Who knows? Who knows what he looks like? Flyer? Yes. Seems like a Jeff? No. But yeah, me telling you as little information as possible, about, or at least telling you as little information about what's important as possible. I'm not giving you a setting. I'm not. Or at least not until later. Or even why they're here, what they're doing. We start in the middle of this chase sequence, so we don't get to see why this is happening. We just start here. It's fun. It's very fun. Give you what the probant looks like. Why? Yeah, we don't get to find out where they're running from it. We learn here what they're doing. They're on an adventure. No context. That's kind of how I write. I establish world building as I go along, because you can pry it out of my cold dead hands. that is how I like to describe it, because I think it's funny. I do as much to let characters and the way they interact with their world form how information is given to the reader as possible. But if there is... No, we are going back. This is bad. That's on you, baby. We're going back to fanfiction. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Because I actually have a really good example of this in here somewhere. There are certain points where it's like, I straight up can't have the characters talk about it without sounding like an exposition dump. So I just give you a narrative exposition dump, in the areas where it feels, where it sounds correct. This one, the company XD or XDAM became a humanitarian aid organization after the outbreak hit. Manufactured antizin and would periodically drop crates of it and other supplies into the quarantine city of Suvar. For the most part, they were the only outside contact everyone in the valley had, despite the drops being welcome and necessary when you're fighting for your life and have to receive supplies from a corporation that literally named itself from God. It can leave a bitter taste in your mouth. So in this, I can't have a character explain this to another character in the world without it feeling like an exposition dump, because all of the characters would already know this information, right? So I just have it here in brackets. You need to know this. You don't need to know this information, but it's information to have for this. It sets the tone. It helps set the tone for the story. So just drop it there. It's related to them. Here, hopefully XD would be merciful sometime in the near future. They're talking about it, so next we talk about this, because it's information that I feel like is important to have. I also like to rag on it. It's also for fun personality thing. I thought of this joke. and I really wanted to use it, which is, receiving thing from a corporation that's named itself from God is so annoying. So I did that. It was fun. I did it. I get to do it. Anyway, what are the other questions? I've been stuck here. How personal do you get when writing someone's POV in third person? Because I feel like I get too personal sometimes. You can get as personal as you want, baby. The only place you can actually I can actually definitively draw a line is in using first person in narrative aspects. If the person is thinking to themselves, then you can use first-person pronouns, obviously. Usually you'll have that in brackets. You can have it in quotations, but that looks messy, I think. But you can have it in brackets, you can have it in italics. Italics is pretty popular. Or you can even just not do that, and just imply that they're just thinking to themselves, and just leave it like that. It's fine. Readers will get it. They're smarter than you think they are. The only thing is, it's not really a matter of getting too personal. It's a matter of not being impersonal enough. If you get my drift, because it's not like a single point that they're focusing on like, let's say it's it's like a line it's like a line, and this is too personal here and this is not personal enough. It's not like you have a single point here. It's more like you have a region that you can occupy. So it's not an issue if you get super personal, it's an issue if you don't balance that out with being a little bit impersonal as well. So establishing things from outside, or like giving outside information that, like this, none of the characters are going to say these things out loud. If I was in first person, I could have the main character think this to themselves if they were explaining it, which is kind of a thing you have to do if you're writing in first person. If you're doing that and it's not like active time, then they have to explain things. No, even if it's active, it's like for present tense. Well, they'll have to explain things, and that can get, depending on how the pacing is going, that can get real weird. I don't know how to do it. Again, I don't touch first person. It's hard and it terrifies me. Capybara? Sure. But yeah, something like this, you have to be able to step outside the story and to talk about, yeah, also go to sleep. To talk about things that are important for the understanding of the story, even if it's not from that person's perspective. There's also the idea that you can be, this is essentially as far away as I could get from being personal in third person. You can be judgmental. That's the point. That was sort of my goal for this one, as well as the apple sweeter. Being judgmental in the narrative. Their jacket is long and white, and is the singularly most impractical thing either of them is wearing. This is both true and judgmental in narrative. It could be something, if I was doing it in third person, it could be something that a newbie is thinking to themselves. That their jacket is super impractical, but then you have a little bit of character where it's like, yeah, it's impractical, but I wear it because blah 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 blah. I like wearing it, or I think it's fun, or whatever, whatever. This with the narrator, I can be annoying. I can be like, nah, it's impractical. Why are you wearing this? Stop it. I can be judgmental of my characters, which is fun. Also, this is the maze appropriate calls home. There are other structures, but yeah, there are more structures, more floors, and more that's outside of this maze. That's not here. We don't have to talk about it. It's not here. Skipping back and forth, you're judgmental in general? Yes. Skipping back and forth in how you give information is also, that's, again, part of my style and how I give information to the reader, but it's also another way to make sure your narrator, or like the narrator of it, is not just the character, because at that point, just have it be in first person. I love these streams. These streams are very fun for me, yeah. Like this, they are on an adventure. If this was in first person, this would have had to be in the beginning of the story. I don't want it to be in the beginning of the story. I want it to start in the middle of the chase scene. So, put this information at the end. Now, non-stream because your headphones are almost dead. Aw, baby. This is why you get wired headphones. They never die. Anyway, just watch the VOD. It's fine. But yeah, like, you can do so much with writing. It's so much fun. Night-night. Yeah, information is not linear, and it doesn't have to be, and I can do what I want. This part here, technically, is not just in the middle of the story. This is this is supposed to be the second, at least the second in a sequence of things in this style, so that's why I have this randomly happening here. But you can also kind of infer what's going on. It's talking about us. It's talking about us who are writing, or me who's writing, and the narrator. I'm just being funny here. They really do more work on their stamina. It's terribly inconvenient with how much time they spend running from things. It's partially, part of it is judgment. Really, a lot of times bringing up facts feels judgmental. This is 100% true. It's terribly inconvenient for newbie to not be great at running with the fact that they spend so much time running for things. Work on your stamina, dude. But, you know, could be considered lampshading. It's not. But there's also, yeah. Another thing with personality is, I think I got this done pretty well. The voice of how the narrator speaks and describes things and talks about the actions of the characters is very different from the way that the characters speak themselves. They're a lot more casual. They have, like, winding sentences or long sentences. The narrator does not really use commas as much as I typically use commas. Because when I write third person limited, I usually go a little bit more into how the character speaks. So I will have long winding sentences. I will have less grammatically correct sentences because it works with the style of the writing. I'll leave out punctuation marks. I'm being judged here for being Canadian. but yeah, it's part of that. You can also do things like this. There are no rules. I can put spaces between letters if I want. I can do onomatopoeia. It's great. I love writing. There's no rules. There are rules, but there are no rules. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, that'd be my general advice for it doesn't really matter how personal you get it. It matters how impersonal you can also keep it. You gotta get some other stuff out there anyway. They're a person that knows stuff that is not actually omniscient, or he only knows what one character is actually thinking. So again, third person limited is what you're talking about here. That's usually how most things are written. you kind of stick around one character. It's from one character's perspective. You are a camera following around this one person. It is like a third-person video game, right? You can go into that character's head, but with third-person limited in, it's more like you're following one person, but you don't necessarily have to stay in that one person's head the entire time. You can occasionally go into other characters' head, but generally, for the sake of character-driven media, you want to stay in that person's head, because then the reader can be surprised and with the information, they can receive information at the same rate as the character, even if they understand it in a different way, or you can bring them into a scene where they understand even more than what the character gets. Anyway. Drawing, actually, this helps. Yeah, all art is it's all art. All art is like that. God, yeah, writing this in present tense narrative was really weird. Or present tense, yeah, present tense was really weird for this. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was actually really fun. Very different. I think I feel like I kept the tense because tenses are weird because it's like present tense, and then for present, the past version of present is obviously past tense. But if you're writing in past tense, the past of that is perfect past, so like completed past. But if you're doing past continuous, then it's just past tense, so it's sort of the same as current past. It's so messy. There's so many things. But yeah, even if you do limited, you can do something like this where it's, yeah, we pan, like the camera pans watching the two characters run away, and then it pans back to watch the construct straight up not get through the wall, just be stuck there, not getting through that wall, and then going back to the characters running. And neither of them notice this. This is also a thing you can have in limited. Literally saying neither of these characters know what's happening over here. Neither of them are paying attention. Blah 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 blah. You don't always do that, but you know, it is hard to explain. it's hard. Also things like, yeah, going with the context. That's what I wanted to say. Giving context of what. Fourth ad, nice. I'm so sorry, you're getting so many ads. Getting context for what characters are going through will help with the level level of personal / impersonal if you're doing third person limited. We see here they were doing so well, they were growing crops, blah blah blah. This is what he's thinking. And they'd taken his horse. That's what Dream's thinking here. And then this here is the context in his sort of thought pattern. But it is the context that this is his context, which you wouldn't if this was in first person. You'd probably get this, but it'd look a little bit different. Again, I don't know first person. First person's hard. Any of my funny little parentheses things are sort of out of the narrative, or out of his narrative comments I'm making. Straight up, that's just a style thing. I don't have to do parentheses for anything, but I use it for emphasis and to make it feel different. And I don't plan what I have in parentheses. Sometimes I plan that I just want parentheses in a certain area. I like the amount of parentheses I have, then I'm like, this makes sense to put here, and then I just go with it. That's a style thing. That's just style points, my dude. That's... But, yeah, the vibe of the story will also... Actually, wait. No, that's fine. The vibe of the story will also indicate the way that you use words, which goes into the personality of it. I don't know how to like, cause we're here already. the way that I word things, the style of this one of hide and go seek is significantly different from We're Not Dead When It's Over. Do a tutorial on tags on I'm bad at tagging. Actually, let's see if I can find, because I say that. Give me all my works. Give me all works. There we go. In friggin' I'm bad at tagging in a lot of my fics. Look at my lovely... Oh, do I not have it here? I feel like I've written that at least a few times. I was violently attacked by the CD and it wouldn't leave me alone until I wrote it. Yeah. I actually do tags incorrectly in the first few things I write. I think I fixed it afterwards. When you're doing tags for fandom things especially, generally what you want to do is pick what is the most important or like the most prevalent ideas, concepts, whatever, and then tag them. And then sometimes I do tags for fun. Also, a fun one too is other additional tags to be added. I think you don't use. Yeah. And then you can do your own. Partially, tags are used for people who are looking for things, but I also use tags as sort of a warning system. Or not warning system, but it's sort of like another short summary. So it's like it like tells people what they should expect for what they want to go in, what they're going into. So it doesn't have to be all actual tags, like I was violently attacked by this idea and it wouldn't leave me alone until I wrote it. I use the AO3 tags sort of also like how I use the tags on Tumblr. This is also a point where before you go into it, before I have my actual written notes, this gives you a vibe for how I am as well. Yeah, so you tag what you'd like to know. It's a fun bit of meta work if you're posting on AO3, but what you do and you don't tag on your fics can also influence the reader. Like the entire presentation of your story is part of the experience. So how, like, if it's a chaptered work or if it's a single like a one-shot, will affect how it's read. If it's part of a series, will affect how it's read. What you have in the tags, how you summarize it, all of this stuff, the title, like all of this stuff really does affect how the person's going to read it, which is why I never read things that in the summary. Yeah, I never read things where in the summary the author essentially goes, "Oh, I'm bad at this, I'm so sorry, please read it anyway." I don't read it, because it's like, if you don't think good about your work, why am I supposed to think good about your work? I'm not gonna read it. And it's like, oh yeah, just give it a chance. No, don't beg, don't do it, go away. Leave me alone. What do you want from me? If they do it in the tags, I might still read if they do in the tags, but it's like, the summary is not for you. The summary is not for you to apologize and feel bad about your work. The summary is for you to sell it to me. The tags are essentially like a warning system, so if I need to check, I can check if I don't want to read any of this. The summary is for you to sell it to me, and then your notes are for you to complain. Like, dude, get it right. But yeah, important things. The archive warnings, which, let's see if we can... Yeah, the content rating, pretty important. But yeah, like the archive warnings, which are like no archive, warnings apply, graphic violence, rape non-con. I don't actually remember all of them, but like, those things are going to be the main ones people look at, and then the next main ones are going to be the relationships. For relationships, I'd put just the ones that are going to be important to the story. And then character tags, I really do gotta change it, because I do it bad. especially with the VLD fix, it is bad. I don't do them very well. It really should be just whoever is actually prevalent, like in the wait, let me do new work. Oh yeah, graphic deficient, major character death, no archive warnings apply, underage. This is it's fun if you want to click or not click on this one. It's great. And then you put other things. These actual character tags I would leave for whoever's actually the focus of the story, and then you can do mentioned in additional tags for if other characters show up but are not like essential to the story. That's what I try to do now, because I learned that it's actually really stupid and really annoying to look for one specific character and have them come up as background characters in a story centered around someone else, and it's like, oh wow, yeah, I can't filter that out though, actually, huh? Yeah, that's really annoying. I shouldn't do that anymore. Other things that I like doing that not a lot of people like doing is putting who it's following, like who's the main character, what is this, what centric is this? Do you, POVs, most people will expect third person limited POV. I would put, if you do a different thing, I would put that it's in a different POV. Yeah. It's significantly easier to tag fandom stuff than it is to tag my own things. As you can see, it's like, why do I explain this to people? Jesus. Who's been reading my stuff? Who's been reading my things? Anyway. The longer stuff with more plot is easier to tag as well. Tags can be spoilers. People will put spoilers beyond this point in tags. I have minimal tags. I have my minimal tags here because I think I'm funny and I wanted to be I wanted to freak people out. And then I have my actual warnings inside. Yeah. We talking about anything else? Debbie, have you read the thingy I wrote? Have you read the prompt fill that I did for you, or your prompt? Also, you need to sleep. Yeah. I want opinions. None of you told me your opinions except for Kaha, who said I like it. You said hands up before? What? I don't know. This is fun. I like doing this. You can barely read it. You asked hands up who read it? Did I? Boy, I'm not paying attention. This was fun to do. I liked doing this. Also, formatting. I'm not giving you any information on what's going on at the end here. It's mystery. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I was thinking about it because I'm always thinking about this stuff. But the importance of plot, sort of. Yeah, the importance of plot in making things interesting to read, right? Or making people want to continue reading. That's a thing that is important. But it was like, the reason that people will read things are the plot, the characters, and the world building. For most, you usually want to go for all three because it's when you have like a really successful thing, but at the very least you gotta get two of them. You gotta get two of the three things in there to make something interesting, because if you don't do that, especially if you're doing fan fiction, people are just gonna jump to something else. If you're writing fan fiction, like the modern day fan fiction things generally are character based. So most people are usually character based. Sometimes they are setting based, so world building based. So you'll already have one of those. If you do not have the second one, or like you already have one of those built in, if you don't have the other two, it's just like, dude, someone's gonna look for something else, my guy. Just do a better one. Come on. But yeah, I was thinking about that and thinking about why things are appealing. And I don't actually remember what I was going on, but yeah, I have your question. Because yeah, it's like, I might be interested in your the world that's been set up, and I guess I might be interested in the characters you have, but if you have them just kind of faffing about and doing nothing, why am I reading the story? Give me a plot. Christ. What if I want to write a fic about an AU that I've been developing through comics before, just short little with a fanfic with big plot? What's your question? What if you want to do that? Do it. How do you incorporate your short comics into that, like as canon to the story? That's gonna depend on what the comics are about, my dude. You can have, if you are using the same characters, you can have them. Yeah, if you're using the same characters, you can have the characters reference that later on in the story, or yeah, in the big plot story, have them make references to that. You could also just have it inform how you make decisions in your story. You don't have to have them actually show up in your big plot story. It is not a big deal. They can be like additional tidbits for anyone who's more curious or has more inclination to find out more about what you're writing. Your stress is AU got out of control. Oh no! Write down notes. I write down everything, or like draw notes. I don't know how y'all make your notes. I don't even write down everything. That's a lie. I write down things that I think I should write down. The rest of it lives in my brain. But yeah, like plotting out stories. I'd probably use it mainly to inform how you make the story, because the way a lot of things work, the way that basically everything works is something happens and then there are consequences to that. Like something happens because either chance, like things just gonna go on, or a character makes a decision and then consequences, right? So you can have that be those little comics be the thing that happened and then have consequences from that. They don't even have to be the main plot of the thing. They can be like, oh yeah, consequently, blah 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 blah. Like, I don't know. Maybe one of maybe one of the comics is like, character A went to a bagel shop and now this is the thing they got is their favorite bagel. You go off of that. Now it's like, oh well, now you know that's their favorite bagel. They can either find something. If they're going to another bagel shop, they're like, oh yeah, these bagels are not as good, or they're thinking, I'd really like a bagel right now, bagel from specifically this one shop, but yeah, it's like you use it to inform your other decisions. That's kind of how prequels work. Although prequel does imply that it came out after the fact, but that's how you do stuff in a linear fashion. This happened in the past, and so that informs that this happens in the future. It's going to depend on what you have actually written down. It's hard to explain this when I have no context. Actually, no. I can kind of do that, because I wrote, 1 second. I wrote down my OC-tober things, and some of them were, Goggles, Kid, and Newbie. Or, yeah, were essentially... but it's too much. Yeah. Some of them were about Goggles, Kid, and Newbie. And essentially none of those were referenced in this story. Let's see if I can find, yeah. Like, Woes, where you live in luxury, it becomes clear that Newbie is very rich where they're from, and they have a giant room. They have things piled on the floor because they're really weird. Oh, I don't think that's this fic. Oh no, it's not a fic. This story. No, it is. Okay. And then I don't reference that anywhere in this, but it's something that was in the back of my mind, which is why they have a long white coat that is very impractical, because they're rich and they can afford nice things and getting them destroyed, and it's fine. I established in another OC-tober thing that and like these are I didn't reread any of this before I wrote the other thing. This is just stuff off the top of my head. But like the fact that they have silver hair, because they have silver hair for some reason, and as part of their like long silver hair, as part of their appearance was something written down somewhere in here. The relationship that Goggles Kid and Newbie have, the fact that they go on these adventures, woo! Like all of these things kind of inform what's going on here. None of them are integral what's happening, you don't need that context, but it was important to me as a writer to know where these characters are coming from, tell you what they're doing now. Like the fact that they're constantly grabbing each other and dragging each other around. They're weird. They're best friends. They're maybe romantically inclined towards each other, maybe not. Who knows? Not me. Is something literally I did not know about them until I started writing them in the OC-topers. I'm like, wow, they're oh, okay, wait, their relationship is different than I thought they'd be. They're a little funny. They're a little funny for that. Specifically was this one, the one where Newbie is sick. And something clicked in my brain. I was like, oh, oh, they're weird about each other. Damn, they fruity? Just a little bit. Yeah, we'll go back to sleep. We'll go exploring another day. Like, that's a mood. Yeah, these characters are not my own. I don't have control. Yeah, the way that they talk to each other was something I had, or like the idea of how they talk to each other is something I had established, at least in my own mind, through all of their interactions in these things. The fact that they have, where is it? This exchange here. He lets the sentence hang, Newbie picks up where he left off, like always. It's like, this comes from them, the fact that I know that they explore a bunch. They have like maybe 3 of these little snippet things, and they don't, I'm pretty sure none of them are actually them going on an adventure, but I know that they go on adventures, because I'd established that, and that's part of the canon. So, and like, I know that they talk a lot, because they're best friends, and they love each other. But it's like, these are things I'd partially already established. This informs how they act after the fact, because this would be after the fact. Also, lore bits that you probably don't notice, but I 100% notice, because I added them in because they're lore bits. It's just like the hallway things referencing the hallway things that have been established, not even in their story, but in the other some other stories I'm apparently writing, like council lore, because council lore, y'all are connected stories. You notice because you're the author. I know, yeah, exactly. I put these things in because I'm the author. And fun fact, if the rest of the story, no, I didn't. If the rest of the story comes out, this stops being references from me, and this becomes foreshadowing. Yeah, foreshadowing to the story. This, you know, I do want to reference this here, the line that started it all. This is foreshadowing. To what? That's foreshadowing. Also, the entire end of it is foreshadowing. Like, it's not really foreshadowing because it's plot, but as the rest of it isn't out, and I am not going to be continuing it anytime soon, it's kind of a sort of foreshadowing. But yeah, the way that they talk is based on how they were in a different time. The reference to the time traveler, man, that's a real throwback. That's from their notebook, because I have notebooks for like all of my stories. That's from their notebook. The time traveler is so funny. Time traveler who does not travel through time, does not exist, is maybe real. But yeah, references to time travelers old. Time travelers real old. Time Traveler has 2 L's in it. Why? Because I say so. Surprise, guys. Of course. I don't know why. That makes me laugh so much. I love it. It's great. Like, I thought you were joking me. This is a new nickname you wanted or something. It's like, what? This is a reference to something that to them has happened, but I have not written yet. Because of something that I thought up, that happened beforehand. And it's like, I'm talking about the thing, you know, the thing that's recording us and stuff, you know, that thing. Can't you feel it? Reference to, again, something I haven't written, but is there, you know, is fun. What am I talking about? But yeah, I'm not actually full-on referencing the previous things I've written or like the other world building I'm doing, but it has informed a lot of my I want to so bad. We'll see if I can. I know. Anyway, yeah, these, like, it's informing my decisions as an author and my decisions on what they're doing. Again, it is the way that I write, or that I approach writing, that it very much is like D&D, so it's, the world is already established, it is what these players do in the world, and then my job as a writer is to throw things at these people and see how they react, right? So the world is already existing, they have a past, and then we're just talking about what's happening in the present. Everything their past, like with almost all, like basically all people, because everything that's written down is like going to be somehow significant to a person, to a character at least. But everything in their past informs how they act in the present. That's kind of how it works. If it's, at least story-wise, if it's not something that informs how they act in the present, or doesn't inform anything about the present, it's kind of a useless scene, and you should probably delete it. But it's fine if you don't, because you can do D&D is funny. Yeah, D&D is funny. You can do what you want. It's your writing. But yeah. Are there any other questions? I feel like I'm rambling and I don't know what I'm saying. We got any further questions for me to rant and rave about? Do you guys feel like you understand things a little bit? You're so you think you ran out, that's fine. And staying motivated to write? That's gonna be like motivation for most things. You have to find a reason to want to do it. And I also fall out of motivation all the time. Again, 9 months. I'm only starting to slowly get back into it. The reason that I do it is because I love doing it. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it's the only thing that I feel like I actually understand. And it is the way that I view the world. I've had this conversation in therapy, literally, that this is how I view and process the world, so it's a very integral part of my personality. What if you want to do it real bad and you don't actually want to write? I don't know. Ask someone to do a sprint with you. That actually worked very well in getting me back into writing. It's like literally get yourself some external pressure to do it, and it becomes a lot easier. I'm a people pleaser. I'm a certified people pleaser. But yeah, you have to want to do it. You have to want to do it and remember why you want to do it, and then just try. You have to also find a way to take all your excuses for why you can't do it and bury it deep in the ground and set it on fire. Because it's hard. Motivation is hard. Okay, we're trying. I'm doing my best. What's up? You also don't even have to write a lot. I'd say make a deal with yourself. If you ever want to start want to write, but you don't feel like writing, convince yourself to do one line. Literally just do one line, because it usually ends up doing more, or like ends with you writing more. How do you manage time skips? Like big time skips or small time skips? Like years or like minutes or hours? Yeah, set your expectations really low. It's not really about how much you write, it's how often you write, because how often you write is always going to give you more in terms of quantity. Both. Why are you doing, like, think about why you're doing it. That should be the most important thing. Like, why are you doing this time skip? What are you getting out of it? What's the reader getting out of it? What are these characters getting out of it? And then, bullet point in, you can, like, write it down or do it in your head. What are these characters doing in the interim, right? Like, I have examples of real short time skips in where is it? Like, I have examples of short time skips here, like I showed that fight. I was doing a time skip because I didn't want to write a fight scene, and I didn't need to write a fight scene. That didn't matter in the story, it's fine. But also, like, short time skips should be used to cut out unimportant information. More than time skips, how to change the scenes. They're kind of just small time skips. It's sort of like, what needs to happen? What do you need to tell a reader for them to understand the story that's going on? And then anything that's not really important, just skip over it, it's fine. Like, or in this case, and actually a few different scenes that I do scene breaks, for a purpose. Like here, I wanted the reader to not know what was happening, which is why the scene ends when he asks what's happening, or what happened, what's going on, why do you look like that? Then we got a scene break, because I'm funny, and then he's freaking out, because I wanted to get an important, or not important, I wanted to get a certain emotion. Like here, I could have had the whole conversation, like what happened, and then Savnap would be explaining, oh, your horse is dead. They killed your horse. But that would lessen the tension. Because again, this is my horror fic, so I wanted to play with tension and suspense and things like that. You can't do jump scares in writing, not really. Unless you have like lots of space where nothing's happening and you go kind of thing, but it can be like single words. You can't really do jump scares, but I was trying to do stuff. So I wanted to play with tension. That's where you cut scenes. You cut scenes when the point of the scene is done, so like, or the action is done. The action of this is him finding out that his horse is dead, and it ends with him falling asleep, essentially. He's crying. We have this here that happened. It's just a little thingy. And then this whole section is a dream sequence, so obviously when it's done, that's the end of that scene. Take all the time you need. When you're ready, we have some stuff to show you. This is a mini time skip, right? I'm not gonna write the minutes of them hanging out, them literally just sitting there. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Actually, I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be back. I'm gonna do a glug for you. But yeah. These always go for so long, because I always talk so much, but whatever. back. Yeah. Yeah, scene breaks are going to happen when the end of a scene happens. Like, hello. Like, again, watching movies, watching TV shows, reading stories, find what makes a scene, and then kind of follow that, because you get kind of like a feel for it. You can also be like, I don't want to write this anymore, and then you make a scene break. Yeah, it depends. It depends on what you're writing. Some scenes are gonna be they're kind of like sentences. They're bigger sentences. Every paragraph and yeah, every paragraph is a word, and then the entire thing is a sentence, and you find where that sentence ends, and then you make a new scene, make a new sentence. All books are sentences, yeah. Series are sentences. Every book is a word. Every book is a sentence. Every chapter is a word. Scenes are sentences. Blah 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 blah. It's kind of like the essay thing. I think I've talked about the essay thing, but the main point, I think, is you want to be able to have one concrete idea in a scene. At least, basically one. If you were to take a scene and then look back at it, essentially you want to be like, okay, this is what happens. You want to be able to briefly explain what's going on in the scene. Exactly. If you find that you're having a little bit of trouble explaining what's going on in a single scene, that might mean that you have too much going on, or you need to break it up a little bit better, or like explain a little better. Of course, all of these rules can be broken, but that's generally what I do. It just needs, they need like this scene here. The main idea of this scene, which is a little bit longer, is that they are having a conversation about what they need to do next, and Dream establishes that he will be going on the run. That's the short of it. I can explain a little bit further, obviously, that they get into a kind of a fight. They're not very happy about it, blah blah blah, but that's essentially what's going on in the scene. And then I do a break here because I don't know how to transition, this part. Another way to do, another reason to do scene breaks. You don't know how to write the last of it because this feels very final. Like, this sentence here feels very final to me, so I'm like, cool. I need to talk about what happens after this, but I don't know how to do that, so I'm just gonna scene break it and transition. It's fine. And then we have this where Dream and Sapnap have this little back and forth. Bye bye Debbie. But yeah, they have this little back and forth. Because I wanted to establish, because Sapnap doesn't actually put too much of his opinion into this. I wanted to establish that, yeah, no, Dream knows that it's a stupid idea. he's not, he really thinks that he has to do it though. And that Sapnap is supportive. Some scenes don't need to be super important, but I wanted to have this kind of exchange here to really establish character relationship and stuff. And also to pad out my runtime. My word count. Another little time skip here, because I could explain that, okay, after this, Dream went back to his room to start packing his bags. He grabbed this, he took this out of his bag, he put this in, blah 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 blah. Or I could follow another character, but I don't want to do that, so I don't do that. So I just go to this next scene where something important happens. Another thing about scene breaks is this is how you get pacing, and that is also something you kind of have to get a feel for. I can't explain it to you because it's going to be based on what you're writing. Yeah, that's also another reason you pad out the runtime with some dialogue and like some scenes like this, because if I could have gone from here directly to here, but this is a very big decision. This is a very important thing that is essentially what gets the rest of the story moving. And I wanted to give it a little bit of time to settle and breathe, not just for the readers, but for the characters as well. And so we have this space here. That's part of the formatting trick. It's like you have physical space that you can see, and then you have some actual story here where they're letting it settle what the conversation, or what the result of the conversation, they're letting it settle to, for them, and just like discussing it. Woo! And then we have this another scene break here, so it feels more like time has passed than just going from this scene of George with a look, then everyone's already dead anyway, I'm going and that's final, to he was almost done packing when George found him again. It would have been a little too condensed, because you need to have things that are important, but you also want to have a flow to your story. You want to have it doesn't have to happen in real time, and it can't happen in real time most of the time for writing, but you want to give it some you want to give time actual weight. I also especially want to do that in this story where there's more of an importance on how time passes, because they're on a timeline, they're on a tight time schedule and things like that. So I needed it to feel like we were also kind of experiencing time at the same rate as the characters. That also will contribute to scene breaks and also time skips. If you don't need to experience time in the same, if the story is not too centered around time and it's not an important aspect, or like the amount of time going on, so if there is a time limit, mostly if there's a time limit, if there's like a countdown, if it's a very short span of time, you kind of want to have less of those time breaks, because then, especially if it's a short length of time, if you have a lot of time breaks or like scene breaks in there, it can make it seem like there's a lot going on in a very short period of time, which shouldn't happen and feels kind of weird. If you're doing something where it's like time travel, if you're writing time travel fiction, then you might want to have more scene breaks where they're kind of jumping around from things, because it's like, well, time is for play, you can do whatever you want. When is time not important? If you have slice of life, if you don't have an established time crunch. So, for example, the thing that you wrote, you could write that, yeah, yeah. The thing you wrote that you sent me to do the editing thing on, that would be something where time isn't really important. Or at least, I don't think it's supposed to be in that thing you wrote for me, because it didn't feel very urgent. They were in a place that it seemed safe, even if there was danger there. It's not like they're on a time crunch. There's nothing there that they were like, we have to get somewhere else fast, or like they don't have an impending sense of doom because they're going to be late to something or anything like that. So that is where time doesn't matter as much. It's not important. They're not trying to find a MacGuffin. That's setups. It's usually the beginning of stories where time is not important, because then plot kicks in and time becomes more important. And especially in endings, time becomes important. But in establishing things like settings, it's like the setup of stories, it can be very casual. You don't really have to have that. If characters have downtime, because sometimes the characters will get downtime, even like in the middle of a plot, they'll have downtime because they're waiting for something to happen, or they're traveling to a place where time gets a little bit more loosey-goosey, or doesn't matter as much, even though they're still technically in this whole, like, in a time crunch. Like, if the plot has it, like, has it that they have to be somewhere in 3 months, and they're traveling there maybe by foot or by like carriage or something like that, and so it'll take a little bit of time, then they have downtime between the start and then 3 months later. Even if they're technically on a time crunch, they have to be there in 3 months, but it's 3 months in the future, so they have time to kill. So it's like a deadline, but they're not close to that deadline. Yeah, or if it's something not super urgent. Because a deadline can be long, it's just how much do they have to get done in between now and the deadline, right? Yeah. Yeah, time, it's gonna depend on that. And then, again, if you have examples, or if you have references, or read. Basically, it's like read and watch and consume media to find out how to do timing things. There's also some stories which are not written with time in mind because it's supposed to be like floaty and not really sure of what's going on and things like that. Character studies often are like that, where the point of the story is not a plot, but the exploration of a character. Those tend to not really have a time important thing. Yeah. I think watching actual play D&D sessions are a really fun way to learn a lot about storytelling and how to do things like that, because it's not written, but so much of it reflects real-time choices on how to write a story. And so it's really interesting. There's also the whole DM's ability to describe a scene that you really want to do, that you probably want to like look at and discover. For the thing is, the way that they describe things is for the sake of clarity. They're not trying to really hide things because they're setting a scene, right? So it can, if you're trying to do something like mystery or whatever, where you're trying to have things hidden, it's maybe not the best way to look at it. Or if you want to have a style that's a bit more flouncy, it's not the best way to look at it. Because there's this one author that I was reading one of her stories, and I really liked her method of writing. Or her style of writing, and especially how she did imagery is very cool. I liked it a lot. I don't remember her name. I could probably look it up, but she would do things like write comparison, like, as a way to describe things. It was like the least descriptive way to do things, but it was describing things in comparison to something she already didn't describe in that sentence, and it was a very fun way to make things seem very magical and out of this, not out of this world because it was on Earth, but like seem magical and whimsical and not something that we're used to, because we literally can't grasp the idea of it. That sounds confusing? Yes. But it worked. It worked for the style of her writing, and it was very fun. D&D is a disaster? Yes. I'm feeling it's someone who could DM for you? Oh no. Too bad. Anyway. A lot of it is, so much of writing is finding what you like from other people, taking it and doing it worse. Because it's always gonna feel like you're doing it worse. But that's just how writing is. That's how art is. It always feels like you're doing someone else's thing, but badly. Oh well. Crime. Yeah. Crime. You can't, there are no longer any original ideas. It's just how you sell it, essentially. Which is fun. It is so fun. I love it. It's fun. Yeah. I'm tired. I've been here for 2.5 hours. Unless you have another question, I might end. You have 8%. Okay, cool. We'll end there. This has been a lot of fun. I like doing these. I might make it a regular thing. Or whenever you guys want to ask me about stuff, we'll talk. We'll hang out and chat and do writing stuff. But yeah, if you're here, make it a regular thing. Yeah, it would be cool. Anyway, if you're here, thank you guys for coming. If you've stayed, thank you for staying. I will see you at another point, and we just ask stuff. Sometimes you just want to just chat and scream. I don't have visuals. But whatever. Yeah. I'll see you maybe next week, maybe later this week. I don't know. But yeah, good night. Good night. Good night. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.